Most people think selling their home in Ottawa is pretty straightforward. You list it, someone buys it, you pocket the cash, easy peasy. But here's what nobody tells you. There are hidden costs that sneak up on sellers that eat away thousands from your final check. Some costs you legally have to pay. Others catch you completely off guard. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what these costs are, where they come from, and how much money you should be actually setting aside right now so that you don't get blindsided when it's time to sell. And for those that are new to the channel, well, welcome. And for those that aren't new, well, welcome back. My name is Belanger. I'm a realtor with the Metro City Property Group. We're the largest EXP team in Ottawa, and I help real estate investors just like you by using data, an analytical approach, and an investor mindset. So check me out at markbelangerrealty.com. All my contact details are there. Schedule a call with me if you think I can help you on your real estate journey. So now let's get back to the video. Let's start the video by painting a picture of what's really happening in the Ottawa real estate market. The average home sale in this city costs sellers between 5 and 7% of the sale price in total fees and costs. Now think about that for a second. If your home sells for $600,000, that's $30,000 to $40,000 coming directly out of your pocket. And that's a down payment on another property. That's a car payment. That's a year or two of university tuition. And most sellers have no idea this money is leaving until it's a little bit too late to do anything about it. And that leaves a sour taste in your mouth. I recently spoke with a seller in Canada. She didn't use my services, she used a different service, and they had listed and sold their home for $550,000. They did the math beforehand and they calculated that they would walk away with approximately $525,000 after the realtor commissions. Sounds pretty reasonable, right? But when closing day arrived, they discovered legal fees, land transfer tax, property tax adjustments, and title insurance added to their total costs. Their actual profit was a lot less than they had expected. They had planned to use the money for renovations on their new home, and instead, they had to adjust their entire post-sale budget. And the key takeaway is that here in Ontario, the costs are stacked. They're not just one fee. I wish they were. There are multiple mandatory expenses that add up pretty quickly. And understanding this upfront changes how you price your home and you plan your finances. It also changes the decisions you make about what to fix before selling and what to negotiate with buyers. So let's break down the biggest costs you'll face when selling here in Ottawa, because these are the major expenses that eat up the majority of what you're paying. Real estate commission is by far the biggest expense that you're going to have, and it typically runs 4 to 5% of the sale price here in the Ottawa area. And here's the important part. This is split between your agent, hopefully myself, and of course, the buyer's agent. On a $600,000 home, that's $24,000 to $30,000. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of cash, and you're right. But here's something that most sellers don't realize. You can actually negotiate part of this. While 4 to 5% is standard, if you're selling a higher price home, for example, or if you have a strong negotiation position, you can sometimes negotiate this down 3 to 4 to 4.5%. And that can save you thousands of dollars. And when you're interviewing your real estate agent, ask them directly if they'll reduce their commission rate. Some agents will, especially for properties that they believe will sell quickly or for repeat clients. Or if you use the same realtor for the sale of your new home as an example, and there's a purchase from that, so that you're double-ending the sale and the purchase, then of course you can negotiate the price. This happens, by the way, more than people realize. The next biggest ticket item is, of course, the land transfer tax in Ontario. This is non-negotiable, and these costs go directly to the province. So there's no point trying to negotiate this away. It's just not going to happen. The land transfer tax in Ontario is calculated on a tiered system. So I'd recommend just go to the website. You'll find the Ontario Land Transfer Tax calculator on a government website. You can figure it out. Just put in the city, kind of put in your address, and it'll spit out the actual tax on it. So before you list your home, find out that number. Don't guess on this. It's too expensive to get it wrong. And the calculator takes about 2 to 3 minutes to use. So probably the best 2 or 3 minutes when going through this entire process. So figure out that as a start line or baseline number. Your next largest expense is, of course, your legal fees if you're selling your home here in Ottawa, and it can range anywhere from approximately $1,000 to $2,000. Your lawyer handles absolutely everything: title search, title insurance, closing documents, and it ensures that transferring ownership, that process, is done correctly. It's a critical step, and you absolutely need a lawyer for this particular step. In fact, you can't get around it, but you can shop it around. Some lawyers charge flat rates for a home sale, while others charge on an hourly basis. And getting quotes from 2 or 3 or 4 different firms can save you hundreds of dollars. Again, it's worth the time. Another 3-minute call, maybe a 10-minute conversation, it's worth it. It might save you hundreds of dollars. And if you don't have a lawyer, that's probably the easiest thing I can do for you. I'll give you 2 or 3 or 4 different lawyers, and I'll allow you to sort of shop it around. That's the easy part. Title insurance is something that protects you if there's any claims against the property after you sell it. Most sellers in Ontario now purchase it, and it costs between $200 and $400, depending on your home's value. Now, title insurance isn't mandatory, but it's becoming pretty standard practice. And honestly, for a property in Ottawa, it's a smart investment. It's a relatively small cost that protects you from potentially much larger problems down the line. So if you're scoring this at home, you're already looking at about $40,000 in total costs. And we haven't even talked about inspections, repairs, or adjustments just yet. And this is why so many sellers are shocked at closing, and they haven't added up all of these numbers in advance. So beyond the obvious costs that we just talked about, there are hidden expenses that surprise sellers because they don't think about them until they're face to face with them. So let's talk about property inspections as the largest of the hidden costs. If a buyer's inspection uncovers issues, for example, a roof that needs replacing, or a foundation crack, or electrical problems, or plumbing issues, you might need to pay for these repairs or provide credits towards the buyer fixes. And this can range from a couple $100 to potentially tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the issue. So here's my recommendation. Newer homes, obviously, probably don't need to do it, but homes that are, or resale homes that are potentially 10 years old or older, is get a pre-listing inspection yourself before you put the home on the market. Yes, it'll cost you $400 or $500 or $600, but it prevents surprises and it gives you time to decide what to fix now versus what to negotiate later. And as a seller, you might order one pre-listing to avoid those surprises, or you might end up paying for these repairs after the buyer's inspection. So doing it proactively gives you more control. And by the way, I have to say it, there is no set rule for home inspections. You can be damned if you do and damned if you don't. I've been in multiple situations where a home inspection served us. I've been in other situations where it actually was a detriment. So again, it really depends on the scenario. Often the buyer side is going to send in their own inspection anyway. So you might be able to, depending on how old the home is, kind of figure out if they're going to do that themselves anyway, which might be fine. And if you're a handy person and you know what your house is or what potentially is wrong with it, this will obviously help you as well. Otherwise, if you're not as handy and you want to actually maximize everything, then it might be prudent to get a home inspection done yourself. So again, that you can control the entire situation. All right, so moving along. My favorite, your favorite, everyone's favorite is the property tax adjustment. And this happens at closing. And it's one that confuses a lot of sellers. And here's how it works. If you've already paid your property taxes for the year, the buyer reimburses you for the days that they own the actual home. So it's on a prorated basis, if you will. And this is usually a pretty small amount, all things considered, but it's money coming back to you as opposed to going out. However, if you're closing mid-year, as an example, and you haven't paid your taxes yet, your property taxes yet, you might actually owe a little bit of money. The math depends on your specific closing date and your property tax payment schedule with the City of Ottawa. So my recommendation is pretty simple, is to check your property tax account with the City of Ottawa before listing your home for sale. You got to know your annual tax bill so that you can calculate the adjustment properly at closing, and there are no surprises. So once it closes, you know kind of exactly what to expect. All right, so let's move on to staging. Now, again, this is not a mandatory expense. It's worth a conversation with myself or your realtor that you're working with, and it is obviously on a case-by-case basis. But if you are hiring a stager, it can cost you anywhere between $500 all the way up to a couple $1,000, depending on what you're renting, how long you're renting it for, the size of your home, etc. And professional photos and video tours can run you a few $100 as well. And some sellers skip these particular options, but they often lead to faster sales and higher offers. And research from the National Association of Realtors shows that homes with professional photos sell 32% faster and for 5 to 10% more money than homes without them. So while it costs money up front, it often pays for itself by increasing your sale price or reducing the time your home sits on the market. All right, so now the most important part of the video is we got to talk about how to calculate your real net proceeds so that you actually know how much money you're walking away with. And this is the part that matters the most because this is the number that affects your life and, of course, your next move. So what I want you to do is start with the actual number itself. What is your expected sale price? And I'm going to help you determine what that sale price is. I have a way of going through this. I'll give you the comps, like all the other realtors in the city. I'll also give you the high-level macro data on the City of Ottawa itself and what townhouses or condos or detached homes are doing. So again, you'll know what from a high level what that is. And the last piece of the puzzle is I'm going to give you the property assessment values on those homes that actually sold. This is information from the City of Ottawa. They have their own way of evaluating what your property is worth. They consider things like how close are you to amenities and parks and schools, and whether or not you've actually used permits for some of the renovations that you've used in the home. Anyway, all that combined gives you an assessed value. I'll compare that assessed value with others that sold, and I'll divide it on a per square foot basis because all the lot sizes are a little bit different, and it gives you that exact number. That gives you the top line base number from a sales perspective. And there's no really denying the range that we can be playing with because all the historical data is within a specific band or specific set of numbers. From there, we're going to deduct or subtract all the different expenses that we were just talking about in this video. Realtor commissions, whether they're negotiated up or down or sideways. You've got property taxes, you've got land transfer tax, you've got a whole bunch of expenses that we want to be subtracting from the total amount or from your sale amount. That'll give you your net proceeds. That's the target that we're actually looking for. This gives you comfort in knowing what the plan is. This sets your mind at ease from a budgetary standpoint, and it puts full alignment in our plan on moving forward. So it's really important. Go to the description below, just pull it. It's a very simple net value calculator. Take it and use it, and let's have a conversation on what your expectations are, what your timelines are, and how I can possibly help you through the Metro City Property Group. As a reminder, we are the largest EXP team in Ottawa. We do hundreds of transactions every single year. Last year, we did over 600 transactions. We know what we're doing from this exact standpoint. So take a look at the net sheet, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Let's go for coffee. I say it all the time. I have a bit of a coffee addiction. That's okay. And let's discuss whether or not we can work together according to this specific plan. So I hope that this video was helpful in some small way. You know I love putting these videos together on a weekly basis. Check my contact details out at my website at markbelangerrealty.com. All of the bells and whistles are there. There's a readiness quiz as well. It's a 2-minute quiz that gets you in the mood, the mindset, the It'll ask you a series of questions just to get you thinking about specific situations. So take the readiness quiz, book a 20-minute call or a half an hour call with me. Let's determine your next steps. So again, hope this video was informative. Until the next video, stay smart, stay invested. Give me a buzz. I'll see you in the next vid.